Closer, welcome. Hello and welcome to Blueprint Cymru, a podcast bringing ideas, experience and ambition to the conversation of building a better future for Wales. My name is Simon Hobson. In today's episode, I'm joined by Franck Banza. Franck is an entrepreneur driven by a mission to empower communities and deliver real, lasting change. The organisation which he founded in Wales is focused on job creation and economic empowerment. Originally from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Franck brings a rich linguistic and cultural perspective. A native French speaker, he's fluent in English, conversant in Czech and Russian, and is a Welsh learner. His academic journey took him through universities in the Czech Republic and Wales, from where he's earned degrees in chemical engineering. Franck says that his purpose is to transform lives through championing the needs and voices of communities. He believes this is achieved by seeking the solution to poverty, exclusion, and structural inequality from the people who live with those challenges. It is through this and his work with small businesses that Franck believes Wales can become a nation where ambition is nurtured, opportunity is shared, and no one is left behind. As Franck calls it, this is his vision that he underpins and calls the Welsh Dream. Hello, Franck. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Hi, Simon. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. So perhaps you could tell the listener a little bit about yourself and your very interesting origins and from where you came to end up in Swansea.
Well, so I was born in Lubumbashi, which is the second largest city in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And I am the last born of four, and we grew up in a happy family. We had a father that was very strict, and he believed that hard work should come before leisure. So he was a psychologist. He worked in HR. He was an HR manager for one of the biggest company, the mining company in Congo. And he wanted to instill that in us, that you have to earn your pleasure. And life is all about working. You work and then you enjoy the reward of your work. So I remember when you were talking, I was trying to remember where I actually started thinking about enterprise. I remember when my friends used to go and play football, I had to stay at home because we had a farmhouse in town, and I had to take care of the livestock that we had at home, the rabbits, the chicken and the ducks, and also water plants. And that's what I used to do when I was 8-10 years old and working before being allowed to go and play football. And by the age of 16, and I was already running a social enterprise. I had a small company. It was, even though it wasn't official, but I had my friends working for me. They will come and then I will employ them to work with trying to get the corn from the farm, and then try to load it to a truck, getting into the mill and transform it into flour, and then we'll take it to the market to sell it. And I was always intrigued and also feeling sad to see the poverty that we had in some of the part of Lubumbashi, where we had the affluent area and then we have the very poor area. And I just didn't like saying it. So what we would do is the profit of that work, then I will go and share it with these people from these areas. And until today, I remember my dad telling me that he would bump into people and they will ask him, "Oh, where is Franck?" And I remember Franck gave me $20 one day. I didn't have anything to eat. And these were the things that already were driving me to make a change where I was. And when I graduated from high school, I looked at the education system in Congo. The universities there were getting really, really bad with the corruption, and always driven by the desire to have the best education. So I started looking for places where I'll get the best education and become the best version of myself. And the thing, I think we heard about best universities in Europe, and I started going to different embassies, trying to find out more. How can I go to your universities then and study? So I went to the Belgium embassy, I applied to different universities in France, Belgium, and Germany. And my brother was already in Czech Republic studying dentistry, and he told me, why not coming here, and it will be the two of us here, we'll have family. And that's why I decided then, yeah, I should go to Czech Republic. And I really enjoyed my time in Czech Republic, learning the language, getting to know people. But then again, I started doing some evaluation about my life, where I will fulfill my potential, where I would be able to have the most impact, and realized that the UK was my next step. And I applied to come to the UK. I applied to different universities in the UK: Sheffield, Manchester, Edinburgh, Cardiff, and Swansea. And Swansea, I fell in love with Swansea, with the natural beauty. Like, I think the prospectus from Swansea University was just really good, that, yeah, I decided to come to Swansea, and that's how I ended up here.
That's a fascinating life story. So one of the things that pop out with what you're saying there is it sounds to my mind like there's quite a strong religious aspect to maybe your father's drive. Is religion important in your life, or has it been in the past as a child?
Yes, it's funny you saying that. Like, that if you see me comfortable always wearing a tie and a suit, I think every Sunday my dad would tell me that you have to wear a tie, a suit and a tie to go to church. And yeah, I used to go to church every Sunday, and he would tell me, like, if you have to go to see the president, you would be wearing something really, your best outfit. And how about God? And that's how it used to be. But also, he would say that paradise is the place of happy labor. So you have to work. And that's, I think, how religious played a big part. Is you also, if you are in a position of power, you have the responsibility to help others. And that's also how I had that social justice in me. To every time I feel like I'm in a more privileged position, I have the responsibility to help others.
So what drove you to study chemical engineering?
From Congo, I think when we were in Congo, I think it's a mining country, and it's all about, if you want to get to the top, if you want to get the top jobs, then you have to be an engineer. And chemical engineering was the thing that I think I really liked. Also chemistry, I liked mathematics, I liked all the science stuff, and it was just easy for me to then not only wanting to get the top job, but also I really enjoy the subject.
Yeah, very sensible move on your part. So otherwise, you might have been a lowly mine engineer like myself. So you got yourself to the University Swansea, and then after that, you immediately founded and established your own business. Is that what you did?
Not directly. I think there were a few things. I think while I was at university, I started. We had few subjects where I was already thinking about being my own business, my own boss, and I wanted to set up a business. And because I had the connection with Congo and the mining companies there, and I heard an opportunity to supply them with PPE equipment. And what I did was I tried to get in touch with local companies here in Wales. I couldn't find any. I had to go and find one in Wolverhampton. And the company, the supplier there, was someone that was really interested in Africa. He knew Africa very well, especially West Africa. And he was very, very helpful. He knew how to get the containers to Congo. And that's where I started my first business called FB Trade. So I was just making connection between the mining companies and the PPE suppliers in the UK. I would have liked to be someone based in Wales, but the companies in Wales didn't didn't believe that I would do something like that. But it was a big contract, millions pounds. Then that was, we had to do that with someone based in Wolverhampton in England, someone who believed that, that was someone who took me seriously. And after that, I wanted to expand it. I wanted to make it bigger because it was something bigger than I wanted to do it not only with Congo, I wanted to do it with different countries. And I couldn't get any support. I couldn't get any help to help me register the company properly because I was just a sole trader, and I had to do the research myself to find different structure of companies, the limited company, and I had to trying to find contacts. If I want to do export, import, and all of that, maybe I wanted to have my own brand of PPE and supply, and I couldn't get any. So everybody I was talking to, they were not taking me seriously. So what I decided to do was, maybe there was something missing. There was maybe a platform, an organization that actually supports people to set up businesses, that encourage people to set up their own businesses, and not just letting people with their ideas disappearing. And that's how I came up with the idea of the Kai. It's to provide this platform, an inclusive platform where people can not only support each other, but also have access to external support, and make sure that even if the ideas doesn't work, but at least they've tried. And that's what I've always believed in. I try, and if I fail, it's not a failure unless I give up, because I will keep on learning. And that's what I've done. I think 10 years now. Today we're going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I'll send you the invite, actually.
Yeah.
And it was my dream to have a hub, a building where we can have different activities. We can bring people here. We can have hot desk. And that was my dream 10 years ago. And today we own a building in the center of Swansea. And it's just showing that you can dream big and achieve it. It's actually that concept of the Welsh Dream, is that if you have, anyone can dream of something, and then you just have to work hard and you will achieve it.
So go back to when you first had these ideas and you were talking to different PPE suppliers, and then you said about expanding and finding the help. Was that a problem with the UK structure, or specifically with Wales?
I think it was specifically with Wales. I think maybe people in Wales or companies in Wales, they were not open to trading internationally. I think most of the time they would deal positively with companies in countries like Dubai, America. I think there's always the perception like Africa, there's no business in Africa. It's more about aid, like charity, and not really doing business with Africa. And then that's what I think I felt the impression was, there was no business to do in Africa. They couldn't believe that. And also maybe coming from a student or a graduate who has nothing, just a sole trader, then maybe, yeah. I think that was perception and also misconceptions, I would say.
It's interesting that you spotted that early on in Wales. Something that's come out of my conversations with other individuals for this podcast is the many entrepreneurs that appear in Wales, and then if they want to retain that passion and succeed in the world, they find that they either have to leave Wales to maybe go to London, or a lot of them go abroad and have people like myself and part of the diaspora that end up in the Americas or Dubai. So obviously the work you're trying to do with your organization is give those people opportunity and a chance to stay in Wales. But what could be done from both from the citizens of Wales changing their mindset, but also from the Senate and the political structures? Have you ideas as to what could change there?
I think from citizen, I think a point of view from the people of Wales, I think education is the main thing. I think people have to be exposed to different people, different cultures, different ideas. I think people always have that thinking that maybe Africa, for example, is a place where it's just the jungle. I remember like going for a visit to view a house that I wanted to buy, and the agent that was helping me to view the house, he asked me where I was from, and then I said Congo, and then he said, "Oh, Congo, the jungle." And then the conversation turned, it was very unpleasant, because, and I just understood that the person was actually ignorant. It wasn't that he was mean or anything, but because he believed that in Congo there's no cities, there's no business, there's just a jungle, probably something that is seen in movies. So we have to be able to educate people about the world. I think Wales, I think the curriculum has to change to we're living in a globalized world, and people have to be aware of what's happening in different parts of the world, and we have to provide the right information. I think the people should know about it. And then in terms of the politics, the Senate, as you know, politics affect all aspects of our lives, and what they have to do to make sure that people, businesses are staying. It's, if you see, even with universities, for example, a lot of people are coming, and very bright people, they're coming to study in Wales. And Wales, it's the education, like we are training people, and if they have to leave to go and work somewhere else, we are losing. So we should be able to retain young people who are here. If we train them, we keep them. And we have to facilitate the business environment. In Wales, I feel like the local infrastructure is not being properly developed. I think transport, even within cities, if you look at Swansea, you can go to places like Townhill, and then someone will tell you they've never been in Mumbles, or they've never been in city centre, and all of that is because there's no connectivity between different areas. If we can have that connectivity, because people, when they move, they spend money, and that's how the economy will help. If people, everywhere they go to, if they go to Mumbles, then they'll have an ice cream from Joe Ice Cream, and then Joe Ice Cream will employ more people there. So it will help the local economy, the hospitality, and we have to remove barriers. I don't agree with the tax what we want to impose on people. Like, we don't have enough tourists, and they don't really bring money. And then if we have to start taxing people to visit Wales, I don't think it's a good idea, because even some people in England, I've heard people saying that they won't come anymore, because if they want to come, they already spend money on accommodation, they'll spend money on food in local shops, in local pubs, restaurants, but then to ask them to pay more money, I don't think that it's a good idea. And all of that, like more tax, I feel like it just makes people wonder, yeah, they wouldn't want to come and invest. It's not good for the economy. I think it should be less tax, less regulations, and also more hubs, like places like London, Paris, like you say, where there's a big entrepreneurial support. Like, a lot of people are creating jobs, startups all the time, making money, but we don't have it here. Like, we don't have hubs, a lot of hubs where people can go and actually start their own businesses. They can have someone to talk to, because if you start a business, it's a lonely process. You have to have someone to talk to, someone who has been through the same struggles, and then that will help.
Yes, and thinking on that, there's an estimated 3 million of the Welsh diaspora out there in the world, all of them who have obviously got those experiences, at the least, of leaving Wales and setting up a new life somewhere else. Obviously, many of them have been very successful in business and have developed a lot of good skills and connections. Have you had any thoughts about how you would encourage those individuals from across the world to either return back to Wales, or to at least give their time to help, exactly as you just described, people establish businesses and have somebody to bounce ideas off?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that actually Wales should learn from Mexico. For example, I learned like Mexico was built by people that used to be in America. They used to be Mexicans. They lived in America, and then they worked in factories. So they learned about the industries there, and then they went back. So what they've learned abroad, they went back home, and then they started building businesses there. Same way, even Ethiopia. I don't know if you heard about Ethiopian Airlines. It's the best airline company in Africa. And it's owned by Ethiopians, that the diaspora in America. They put money together, and then they've learned from big airline companies in America. Now they're dominating the airlines industry in Africa. And I think Wales should do something like creating a department for the diaspora, or bringing people, having these ideas, because these are people who I think what I've seen with Welsh people is like they always attached to Wales, and they want Wales to be known in the world. They want Wales to do better, and they want to invest. But we should give them that opportunity to do it. And the politicians, I think the Senate or the Welsh government should actually try to even create maybe a ministerial department for them, and then they can bring money. They can actually bring a lot of investment. The same even with Africa, the African diaspora. I don't remember how much money they contribute to the development in Africa, with billions of money sending back home all the time. And it's the same with Wales. They can do it, but they have to feel like they're being heard, because if you want to your money to be properly used, if you decide you want to invest back home, you don't want to lose money. And we have to be able to facilitate that dialogue, like bringing them on the table, and then to listen to them, because they have ideas, they know what works, what doesn't work abroad. And then I think in doing that way, I think will definitely help.
And obviously you're an engineer, and one of the areas that the United Kingdom and Wales particularly needs to focus on and develop as far as retention of talent is people in the science, technology, engineering, mathematics areas. Have you had thoughts on how Wales could do that, how Wales could get those STEM individuals either to study in Wales and then, as you mentioned, stay there, or come from diaspora, or people like yourself that could be attracted from other countries into Wales?
Yeah, I think the good thing with people studying STEM subject is that they can work in any industry. Like I was very comfortable doing project management because we had some project management modules, we had economics modules, and I have also friends who are working in banking, who are working for insurance companies. So people studying STEM subject can do anything. But I think for right now, I've seen that the education system is failing in Wales, and we can see how universities now in Wales are at risk of closure. And all of that is because they haven't been able to create or run courses that are fit for purpose for the local economy. There has to be links with the local industry and subject like farming, hospitality. I think that are areas where Wales can actually, there's potential for Wales to actually be doing very well. The food and drinks, so we should have courses at universities that are linked to that, and that will help the local economy. There's an example I remember in Czech Republic at our university, we had a department for beer. As we all know,
Okay.
Republic is the capital of the beer industry. So maybe I would say it's the best place to, they produce the best beer in the world. And they know that, they are focusing on that. And we had that department at university. And every Thursday, I remember, they had these companies, local beer companies, coming on campus and having workshops and engaging with students and then telling them about how is it to work in that industry, and then making them dream of how they can work one day there. And that helps the innovation, because all the time they would come up with problems, because that links, I think the industry comes to university saying, okay, we are facing this problem, and then the university then would say, okay, we'll get students to do some research on this or some postdoc. And then that research, then when they discover the best way of maybe improving the taste or improving the look of the drink, and then they innovate, and then they keep on making it bigger and better. And that's how then they help the local economy. They keep on having new products, then they expand, they have new employees, and that's really helped. More taxes, and then it helps the local economy.
And one of the things that obviously the Czechs do well with their beer industry is the export, and it's renowned for beer. And yet Wales, I think, is struggling. And again, drawing on my conversations with diaspora for this podcast, a lot of the diaspora feel and think that Wales hasn't really identified what it is or what it's offering the world as a brand. So if from your experience as an entrepreneur in Wales, what would you say Wales could do to make its name known throughout the world?
I think the beautiful landscape, I think we have, I think tourism and hospitality and farming. I think we have the unique, I think, yeah, it's just, it's a place of, outstanding natural beauty, as they say. So we have to be able to use that. And if people, they know that this place is a place of outstanding natural beauty, and then there's a brand with it, then any product that is being produced there then will be unique, whether it's beer, whether it's food, whether it's cheese, whether it's cockles, and so it could be anything. But I think we just have to use that asset that we have. I think it's the beautiful coastlines, the beautiful landscape, and also the people. I feel like people in Wales are hardworking and they're very proud of the country. And you can even see, like, even people when Wales plays against England. I say, oh, a small country, but when they play against England, it's like they will give it a fight. And I think economically, that should also be the same. I think we should have that mindset of trying, not just giving up. I think what I've seen here, even when I came here, when I wanted to set up my business, people would say, even Swansea, the graveyard of opportunities, and Dylan Thomas said this, and it's even posted at the train station. It's on the floor there. Yeah. So we cannot have that. Like, we have to be able to say, like, it's the land of opportunities. Like, if you come here, you work hard, you can make it.
And so you speak more languages than many people. How have you found that multiculturalism has shaped your both integration into Welsh society, and as you said in the introduction, you're learning Welsh, but also, like, how does that help with your community engagement and understanding people?
I think it's definitely opened my mind. I think when I went to Czech Republic, I was very, very eager to learn the language. I liked it. And when I looked at the other students, for example, that were not really enthusiastic about learning the language, and they couldn't learn it properly, and as a result of that, they didn't succeed even at university, and also they didn't have friends, they didn't have a social circle, and then it makes life very difficult. But if you are very enthusiastic about learning a new language, it gives you that connection with people. People will accept you easily. You will be able to be part of a community, be part of something big. And that's really helped me to be myself, to learn more about people, and to immerse myself in any community. I can connect with anyone. That's how I always feel like I'm a citizen of the world. Like, I would not see barriers. I think learning languages will make you see bridges than barriers. It will make you see the things that we have in common, not the things that we don't have in common. And I think it brings people together. And also, on the top of that, it's good for business. As I can tell you, like, for example, even my first business, why I was able to make that deal is because the mining companies, for example, in Congo, they were speaking French and they couldn't speak English, but they wanted British product. And because I could speak English and I could say, oh, well, and I could speak French, I'm here, I can help you. I can do all the transactions for you. I can do this, I can do that for you. And they were like, yes. And that's how it's very important. I think the same way for Wales, I can understand the importance of learning Welsh, but it's also important to learn different languages. And even Wales, if you want Wales to be part of the world, we should be able to teach young people not only Welsh, but also other languages, especially European languages, French, Spanish, and other major languages in the world. Another example is that right now we're having a project. It's a new project from the European Union, the Erasmus Youth Entrepreneur Erasmus program. So we'll be actually receiving young, like, new entrepreneurs from Europe. So right now I'm talking to partners in France and the Netherlands, and they'll be able to pay someone to come to Wales and work for us here on our project. And it's beneficial for us and for that person. So I would like this opportunity to be open to young people in Wales as well. But if for someone to be able to send them to France, for example, to the Netherlands, it would be good if they can speak another language, even if English is widely spoken, but to be able to have the best experience and to learn more, then it's very important to learn the language.
Absolutely agree with that. So as far as migrants are concerned to Wales, I mean, obviously you were one once, maybe would still be seen as one by some. What do such individuals such as yourself bring to Wales politically and economically? The conversation. How do people like yourself advance that political and economic conversation in Wales?
I think people like me is that we have different experiences. We have a wealth of different experiences, knowledge from different countries. So we've seen it. So I've been in Congo. I see what's good, what's bad. And I've been in Czech Republic. I've seen what's good, what's bad. And I know what is working, what is not working there. And then being in this environment, again, after living here more than a decade, then I also see from a different perspective. So people like me would bring a different ways of doing things. I think that's wealth of knowledge and experiences. It makes it better. I can take an example of America. America was built by migrants because they've seen what they could do somewhere else, and then they went to America. The Spanish, the French, and the Germans, they went to America and they built America. And it's the same like ever. I think the great countries have been built by migrants because they bring different ideas, different opportunities where sometimes local people wouldn't see the same way. And that's, I think, how we should be able to embrace that diversity. It's not just diversity by the look, it's the diversity of ideas, opinions, and that's what even creates great ideas and then will make a big difference. And it's really sad, like sometimes when you see what's happening, most of the time people don't really see what like the migrant communities are doing, because most of the time they actually contribute more without getting anything in return. And you look at the NHS, for example, in Wales, the NHS wouldn't survive without the medical staff coming from abroad, from doctors from India, nurses from Nigeria and other places, from the Philippines. But most of the time, they are being seen as people who are just coming to take, and that's not right. I think we should be able to recognize the contribution of these people who are coming to this country to actually contribute and make a difference here.
So why do you think so many people in Wales at the moment are choosing to take a route to ignorance and hate and support far-right English nationalist parties such as Reform UK?
Well, it's a really sad reality. I think what I would say is that people are disillusioned with politics. I think that the current situation with our politics, it's not helping. That's one thing. And then people are just upset and they are making a protest, and that's why reform is getting a lot of support. But also it's ignorance of some of the people not knowing that it's not the fault of migrants. It's an easy target. It's to just point the finger, or everything that's is going bad, it's because of migrant. Everything is getting expensive. COVID, it's because of migrant. Or everything is getting expensive. The cost of living, it's because of migrant. The NHS waiting list is long because of migrant, but it's not. But people just get very upset, and they think that. But I think what we have to do is to educate people and to inform them about what people are actually doing. I can understand the crossing the border, the channel with the boats situation, yes, but that's a tiny minority of people. But the majority of people who are actually coming to this country are people coming legally to work, and we have to be able to differentiate that. Like, I think there's a really, really bad connotation when people even say migrant, like, or immigrant, or it sounds bad. Like, if you say, for example, a word like expat, then it sounds more like, because if it's a British person going to work to another country, they call them an expat. But then if you are someone coming to work here, then you're being called migrant. And it just doesn't sound right. And these are the things that have to change, and it starts with trying to educate people. I think that's where we are failing. We are not educating people about politics. Like, people don't know about what's happening in the country. The other day on TV, I saw that I think that the children commissioner actually was asked in Wales, is asking for more education about politics in schools, because right now the majority of children, they don't even know who is running Wales, who is the first minister. So it's a sad situation why you have 16 and 17 years old who will be voting next year, but they don't even know what is the Senate and what they do. So it's a sad reality.
The way you speak of your passion and love of politics and understanding of it comes across. And I know that in July 2024, you stood in the general election for the Gower Peninsula, or the Gower constituency for the Liberal Democrats. So what motivated you to step into that political arena and try and get elected?
No, I think I was just driven by the desire to do more for my local community, and I've always looked at solutions. Like, when I see a problem, I want to be part of the solution. And doing the work that I'm currently doing for the local community, it's always, that's my best way of doing it. But then I was thinking of doing to another level and giving back more to the community. And I thought that I would do a better job at getting involved in politics and helping even more people. And that's how I decided to get involved in politics, and also knowing that a lot of people are not involved in politics. They don't know about politics, and politics affects our lives, and we have to get involved. If you cannot be there and complain all the time about issues and not doing anything about it. And that was for me, that I can't be there just complaining about things. And I should try to get involved in making sure that I tried and I try to contribute and make a difference.
And I think one of the things that maybe is frustrating for people that do get involved with politics is that often you can come with great intentions to change your community or a nation, but established political parties are often very reticent to move from party policies which are already hard and fast in their policy handbook, which often means that people in Wales are hamstrung by the political system. So, I mean, that closed and sort of almost undemocratic workings of the established political party structures opens up wider questions about how would you personally inject transparency and diversity into UK and Welsh political parties?
I think you were absolutely right. I think how it's like, again, it's another sad reality of our politics in Wales. I think when things are being done top to bottom, it's the wrong way. It should always be bottom up, and the decision making within the local parties, political parties, are being done in the wrong way. That's why you end up having a small group of people who are trying to control everyone, and then that's also the way of putting off a lot of people when you have people who are genuinely wanting to help getting involved in politics, and then to get involved in politics and then to find out that you have to do tricks, you have to do you have to be mean, and it's not a good it's not appealing. I think what has to change, I think even for Wales, what I was even thinking is we don't really have Welsh political parties, and it's just sad to see like the major political parties, they have headquarters in London, and then as all the political parties like in Wales, they're like an extension, it's like a branch.
Well, you got Plaid Cymru, obviously.
Only Plaid Cymru. I think how it should be. It should be like Welsh having headquarters, Welsh parties having headquarters in Wales, and then they will have representation in London, and that's how I think would be more effective. And I don't think that the way right now it is, with everything being dictated by the headquarters in London, it's the best way of moving things forward. I think that's even what gets even party members get frustrated by their own political parties because of that, because they are not being heard, and then that the frustration people get because they are not being heard. And right now in Wales, it's not just the wider population, even people within the parties are being frustrated, and I think it's gonna be very interesting next year, like to see the result, what will come out of the next Senate election, and it will be very interesting because I can see that a lot of people are unhappy with all political parties right now.
And I think one of the things that has come out of my conversations, again drawing on this podcast and conversations with diaspora who are looking to invest into Wales, and also some of the media that work in Wales that I've spoken to, they've all identified the lack of general worldliness and world experience, maybe the lack of actual talent within politicians within Wales, and that obviously affects how policies are thought up and implemented. So what do you think needs to happen to change political parties to bring a higher caliber of person into becoming a professional politician?
The way, if you look at the way political people become MPs, for example, you look at their stories, you will see like there is a tendency where people have started straight after university. They started as an aide to a local party, and then they worked as a campaigner, activist, and they become councillor, or they become town councillor, and then they become a city councillor, and then they progress to become an MP. And then within the political parties, these are people that are being given the more, I would say, privilege, or the more support. They are being seen as the people that are well accomplished compared to someone who would actually have lived experience of different sectors, whether it's a farmer or a local business or a lawyer or a teacher. And that is the problem. I think right now within political parties, loyal party members, people who have been in the parties for a long time, are being given the privilege to access, to be selected for bigger positions. And that shouldn't be the case. It should be, political parties should look at how can we have the representation of everyone in all sectors, experiences, and knowledge. And it cannot just be quotas like what they're trying to do, men, women, but that's, or they want to tick the box with diversity. No, it should be, I strongly believe in merit. Like, people should deserve what they're achieving. It shouldn't be just because we have, and that's the problem even for representation, whether it's women, whether it's diversity in terms of race. It's because people just want to tick the box to say, yeah, we have a woman on our board, or we have someone of color in our board, and it doesn't help. They should look at what are we doing, what are the policies that we are having that actually makes everybody equal, regardless of who they are. And then the people will be happy, because, for example, I would never be happy to be selected just because I am black. That's, I wouldn't feel good about it. I want to deserve my place. And that's what I believed in. And that's right now, if we are not happy, if people are not happy about the country right now, I think it's because of all of that. It's because we tend to just try to tick the box instead of actually trying to resolve issues.
And so would you give advice for younger people to attempt to get into politics, or would you dissuade a young person from politics?
No, I will tell them to get involved in politics. And getting involved in politics is not just about trying to be a candidate. It starts by educating yourself, trying to know more about the politics, try to know more about who is your local town councillor, who is your local councillor, who is your local MS, who is your local Lord Mayor, or the leader of the council, who is your local MP, and what are their roles, what do they do, and then you can hold them into account for what they do. And you can send them letters, they have to respond to you, you can try to influence them when there's consultations, get involved in consultations, and then find a local party that aligns with your values. But that's one thing, you can join a party that aligns with your values, but I would say you should always be where you're being valued and appreciated. And if you find that place, then yeah, stay there and try to be involved in campaigns and try to find for a place to be elected and to make a difference.
And of course, one of the great things about the modern world and social media and the connectivity of the globe is and I think this is something that established political parties haven't fully understood yet, is that it's very much the case that a younger person or anybody who has a passion or a particular subject they want to raise awareness of can have an Instagram account or TikTok, and they can put posts on there and they can really push that single issue campaign or their particular position on something. Is that something that you've thought about, and how that might change Wales for the better?
Yes, absolutely. I think that something like that would help. We have to do something radical, but in a right way, not by I would say not by trying to vote by protest, and then we end up bankrupting the country. But I think social media, I remember, I don't remember exactly what country, but apparently there was a country where there was a dictator who didn't want to organize elections, but young people actually started a campaign on social media, and they put a lot of pressure, and then the president ended up accepting to organize election, and then there was a change. So I think young people can definitely start this type of campaigns on Instagram, and that's also politics. They're free to do that. They're allowed to do that. Any way of protesting or raising an issue and trying to bring people together, having forums, discussing about different ideas. I think that's also the best way forward. Like the crisis that we are having in different subjects, even like water companies. Like on the radio this morning, I was listening about Thames Water. Apparently, they are having a very complex structure where stakeholders are having millions of pounds on bonuses, and it's just not fair. Like to hear that nothing can be done. But we have to bring people. I think people should start talking about it so that then there will be a change, because big companies like that making huge profits and then not providing good service, then politicians should act and do something about it.
So how does Wales set about the task of making society equitable and inclusive, and what sort of roles do you see community organisations and everyday, communities and citizens playing in that vision?
I think it starts with education. I think education is the foundation. We have to be able to provide the right education to everyone, every single child. Again, I think I was very sad to hear like how, for example, the funding for special need children are being cut, and right now it's already not good enough. I have 2 children myself who are autistic, and fighting for the right education for them all the time. And I can see even other parents in their classes, they are exhausted. And they're just worried about the future of the children, because if they don't have the right education, there's no future. And after COVID, where we had a lot of children left behind because they couldn't get the right education, even until now, they haven't been able to catch up. And if you don't invest in education, what will come out of it in the future? It will be a disaster, because these children are not prepared for the future, because life is tough and you have to be ready for it. And when I even hear about, there was saying about how the Gen Z cannot cope even at work, like they're not able to stay at work for more than 2 years, like they always on sick leave and all of that. It's because that generation, they were not prepared mentally, and they are very, very easy to quit. And we have to change that. I think we have to change the education system where we invest in mental health support, so they have a strong mental state, so they know that they can fight, they can be resilient, and that's how we can then build the future generation who have a better a better future for them. I think that's the only way. I think it's education. We have to get it right. If we don't get the education right, then it's not going to be good.
No, well, education is the foundation for society, isn't it? So it has
yes.
And so, I guess, sort of coming to a close with our conversation, what gives you hope about the direction Wales is heading in socially, economically, and politically?
So in the short term, there's no hope, and I am very. It's sad to say in the short term, like what, because the political landscape influence the social, the economic, and we have to get it right, because that's where it all starts. And then right now, what we're seeing where Wales is going with reform heading in the poll, and if they have to run the country, I think things will get worse before it starts getting better. So I believe in young people. I think the people of Wales, I think they will definitely in the medium term, I think they will make the right decision. When things will get worse, I think people will start getting more interested in politics, and then they'll start getting more educated about politics and the things, and then they will make the better decisions, and then things will change.
So where do you see Wales in 15 or 20 years from now?
I feel very optimistic about Wales' future in 15 to 20 years. I'd see Wales more having more devolved powers. I would like to see Wales making decisions in Wales for Wales. I feel like for a community to thrive, they have to make this decision themselves. I think we have to bring those powers down to the people. And
what would those powers be? Taxes, how they develop natural resources? What were your thoughts on the particular powers that Wales needs to have?
Yes, I think that should be the taxes. We should be able to, even the economy. I think it's a little bit strange, like the way I think the devolved powers is on the education and training, but not really on the economy. For example, the tax and these areas of funding, and all the time Wales has to wait for the budget to come from Westminster and all that. We have to be able to do it ourselves, and criminal justice as well. And I feel like we should be able to have our decision in terms of justice, and also immigration. I feel like we should be able to give visas. Like Wales should have at least consulates around the world, like having people who can get visa from them as well, and trying to have those more exchanges. I think more autonomy. I think that's those are the powers that I would like to see Wales having. I think it will then help the economy.
So you say it's 10 years since you started your business. So what else have you got? Anything else that you're planning to do that you'd like to tell the listener?
Yeah, so I have a few ideas now. I think here in the building, so we'll have a bar, restaurants. That will be very, very. It will be a vibrant place, and a place of social events and live music. And we're planning to do some annual festival, international music festival in Wales, and we're trying to. There's new products coming up. We're trying to make with Super Bio Boost, my other company. We're trying to make microgreens, crisps, and different products. I think there's a lot coming up. There's always new ideas that we will try, and
Franck Banza, thank you very much for being today's guest.
Yeah, thank you too, Czech and Russian, Simon.
If you enjoyed this conversation, have comments, or would like to add or participate to the future episodes of Blueprint Cymru, head over to the New Wales website, which is new.wales.